Coal. Nothing was more important for British industry in the early 1800s than coal. With the advent of the Newcomen steam engine in 1712, British industry developed a hunger for coal that seemed infinite. From books to bullock carts, bayonets and bandages, every industry demanded ever more coal to maintain quotas of production. But in the days before conveyor belts and diesel transport vehicles, coal was carried from the depths of the mines to the surface on the backs of people. They were the coal bearers. From girls as young as 6 to women of 40, we hear their harrowing stories, in their own words. British coal mining during the first half of the 19th century was still a fairly primitive affair. The work was done by hand, and it was hard work. Conditions varied around Britain depending on how nice the mine owner was and how easy the underground coal was to get to. Generally speaking, however, men, women, boys and girls all worked together to get coal from the inner workings of the mines up to the surface, where it was transported for use and for sale. Shifts were long, often exceeding 12 hours and sometimes up to 16. In East Scotland, where our focus is today, children most commonly began working at 5 or 6 years old. Exhausted 6-year-olds do not make the best safety supervisors, and accidents were common. So common, in fact, that Queen Victoria ordered an official inquiry. A commissioner was appointed, and he appointed sub-commissioners to inspect the mines for themselves. What they found shocked and appalled the nation. The following voices are those of the mine inspector and the women he interviewed. The coal bearers. Sub-Commissioner to the Central Board of the Children's Employment Commission, East Scotland, 1842. It has already been stated that in this district girls and women are employed equally with males in all the labours of the coal mines. Indeed, it is stated to be a general rule that, and I quote, girls are invariably set at an earlier age than boys to their peculiar labour from a notion very generally entertained amongst the parents that girls are more acute and capable of making themselves useful at an earlier age than boys. The chief employment of children in the mines of this district is in the trapping, coal bearing, putting, pumping and hewing. The persons employed in coal bearing are almost always girls and women. Boys sometimes engage in the same labour, but that is comparatively rare. The coal bearers have to carry coal on their backs in unrailed roads with burdens varying from 3/4 hundredweight to 3 hundredweight. The sub-commissioner represents this labour as a cruel slaving, revolting to humanity. Yet he found engaged in this labour a child, a beautiful girl, only 6 years old, carrying in the pit 1/2 hundredweight of coals and regularly making with this load 14 long and toilsome journeys a day. Margaret Leviston, 6 years old, coal bearer. Been down at coal carrying 6 weeks, makes 10 to 14 rakes a day, carries full 56 pounds of coal in a wooden bucket. The work is no good. It is so very painful. I work with my sister Jessie, and mother. Don't know the time we gang. It is very dark. The inspector describes this child's place of work. She is first to descend a 9-ladder pit to the first rest, even to which a shaft is sunk, to draw up the baskets or tubs of coals filled by the bearers. She then takes her creel, a basket formed to the back, not unlike a cockle shell, flattened towards the neck so as to allow lumps of coal to rest on the back of the neck and shoulders, and pursues her journey to the wall face, or as it is called, the room of work. She then lays down her basket into which the coal is rolled, and it is frequently more than one man can do to lift the burden on her back. The tugs or straps are placed over the forehead and the body bent in semicircular form in order to stiffen the arch. Large lumps of coal are then placed on the neck, and she commences her journey with the burden to the pit bottom. In this girl's case, she has first to travel about 14 fathoms, 84 feet, from the wall face to the first ladder, which is 18 feet high. Leaving the first ladder, she proceeds along the main road, probably 3 feet 6 inches high, to the second ladder, 18 feet high. So on to the third and fourth ladders. till she reaches the pit bottom, where she cast her load varying from 100 weight to 1½ hundredweight into the tub. This one journey is designated a rake. The height ascended and the distance along the road added together exceeds the height of St. Paul's Cathedral, and it not unfrequently happens that the tugs break. The load falls upon those females who are following behind her. However incredible it may be, I have seen the evidence of fathers who have ruptured themselves from straining to lift coals onto their children's backs. Janet Cummings, 11 years old, coal bearer. I gang with the women at 5 and come up at 5 at night. Work all night on Fridays and come away at 12 in the day. I carry the large bits of coal from the wall face to the pit bottom and the small pieces called chows in a creel. The weight is usually 100 weight. I do not know how many pounds there are in 100 weight, but it is some weight to carry. It takes 3 journeys to fill a tub of 400 weight. The distance varies as the work is not always on the same wall, sometimes 150 fathoms and sometimes 250 fathoms. The roof is very low. I have to bend my back and legs, and the water comes frequently up to the calves of my legs. I have no liking for this work. Father makes me like it. I have never got hurt, but I've often been obliged to scramble out of the pit when bad air was in. Isabella Reed, 12 years old, coal bearer. I am wrought with sister and brother. It is very sore work. Cannot say how many rakes or journeys I make from the pit bottom to the wall face and back. There I think about 30 or 25 on the average. Distance varies from 250 to 100 fathoms. I carry 100 weight and a quarter on my back, then frequently in water up to the calves of my legs. When first down, I fell frequently asleep while waiting for coal from heat and fatigue. I do not like the work, nor do the lassies, but they are made to like it. When the weather is warm, there is difficulty breathing, and the lights frequently go out. Agnes Kerr, 15 years old, coal bearer. Was 9 years old when I commenced carrying coals. I carry father's coal, making 18 to 20 journeys a day. A journey to and fro is about 250 to 200 fathom. I have to ascend and descend many ladders. I can carry 1½ hundredweight. Jane Peacock Watson, 40 years of age, coal bearer. I have wrought in the bowels of the earth 33 years. I've been married 23 years and had 9 children. 6 are alive. 3 died of typhus a few years since. I have had 2 dead born. I think they were so from the oppressive work. A vast of women have dead and false births, which are worse as they are not able to work after. William Hunter, mining oversman. I have been 20 years in the works of Robert Dundas Esquire and had much experience in the manner of drawing coal, as well as the habits and practices of the collier people. Until the last 8 months, women and lassies were wrought below in these works, when Mr. Alexander Maxton, our manager, issued an order to exclude them from going below, having some months prior given information of the same. Women always did the lifting or heavy part of the work, and neither they nor the children were treated like human beings, nor are they where they are employed. Females submit to working places where no man or even lad could be got to labour in. They work in bad roads, up to their knees in water, in a posture nearly double. They're below to the last hour of their pregnancy. They have swelled haunches and ankles, and are prematurely brought to the grave, or, what is worse, a lingering existence. Many of the daughters of the miners are now at respectable service. I have 2 who are in families in Leith, and are much delighted with the change. In surveying the workings on an extensive colliery underground, a married woman came forward, groaning under an excessive weight of coals, trembling in every nerve, and almost unable to keep her knees from sinking under her. On coming up, she said, in a plaintive and melancholy voice, "Oh, sir, this is sore, sore, sore work. I wish to God that the first woman who tried to bear coals had broke her back, and none would have tried it again." At the conclusion of his account of this employment, the sub-commissioner reports, "When the nature of this horrible labour is taken into consideration, its extreme severity, its regular duration from 12 to 14 hours daily, which, once a week at least, is extended through the whole of the night, the damp, heated and unwholesome atmosphere in which the work is carried on, the tender age and sex of the workers, when it is considered that such labourers perform not in isolated instances selected to excite compassion, but that it may truly be regarded as the type of everyday existence of hundreds of our fellow creatures. A picture is presented of deadly physical oppression and systematic slavery, of which I conscientiously believe no one unacquainted with such facts would credit the existence of in the British dominions. The findings were damning. Stories like these hit the newspapers from Land's End to John O'Groats, and Britain's privileged classes were disgusted. The scandal was public in May, and by August, the government was pushing through legislation to restrict employment in the mines. The 1842 Mines Act prohibited female labour and boys under 10 from working underground, but did nothing to improve conditions for the men. Rather than a rallying cry for workers' rights, the politicians were motivated by a general disgust at the idea of men and girls working side by side deep under the earth. However, the Mines Act was an important step on the road to better conditions and safety standards for the mine workers across Britain, and it was made possible by the toil of the women and girls featured here. It's important that stories like theirs aren't forgotten. Those were the voices of the female coal bearers of 19th century East Scotland, recorded by the mines inspector. But what do you think? Were you aware that men, women, boys and girls worked together in the coal mines? How would you feel loading 100 weight of coal onto your child's back? How do you think they managed to keep going under the strain? Let us hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching this video, folks. If you'd like to read more about the people, places and events I've mentioned, check out the references in the description. If you've got an idea or story you'd like to share, I want to hear it, so let me know in the comments. And if you like this sort of content, hit the subscribe button or show your support on Ko-fi. I look forward to reading your thoughts, as it's my favourite part of making these videos. I hope these voices have given you something to think about, and I'll see you in the next one.